Jaya Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gurujana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vijanarandana Yashodanandana Vijanarandana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radha Jaya Radha Giridhari Radha Giridhari Radha Jaya Jagannath Jaya Jagannath Jaya Bala Dev Jaya Subhadra Jaya Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai Nitya Gaur Haribo 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 Nitya Gaur Haribo Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Guru Deva Guru Maharaj Jaya Prabhupada Jai Shubhada Paramahansa Padipatacharya Sri Srimad Swami Holiness Dhamma Krishna Goswami Sri Gurudev Jai Shubhada Paramahansa Padipatacharya Sri Srimad Dhamma Patipadan Sanchita Prabhupada Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Mahabharata Sri Prabhupada Ki Gaurpati Gopani Hari Bol. So once again, I'd like to welcome everyone to this morning's Srimad Bhagavatam class. So we'll read the Srila Prabhupada Lila Mitra, Srila Prabhupada Lila Mitra Ki Jai. Kirtananda, it was Tuesday afternoon, Memorial Day, and I was sitting with Swamiji in his room. While Kirtan was going on downstairs, the twitching began again. Swamiji's face began to tighten up. His eyes started rolling. Then all of a sudden, he threw himself back, and I caught him. He was gasping, Hare Krishna, and then everything stopped. I thought it was the last until his breathing started again, and with it, the chanting. But he didn't regain control of his body. Brahmananda. I was there along with Kirtananda. It was on a Memorial Day weekend. We couldn't understand what was wrong with Swamiji. He couldn't sit up. He was mourning, and nobody knew what was happening. We nursed him, myself and Kirtananda, trying all different things. I had to go out and buy a bedpan for him. Prabhupada's left side was paralyzed. He asked that a picture of his spiritual master be put on the wall in front of him, thinking that Prabhupada was preparing to leave his body and wanted to meditate at the last moment on his spiritual master. Ashutananda taped it to the door facing Srila Prabhupada. Devotees entered the front room of the apartment, and Prabhupada told them to chant Hare Krishna. Then he told them to pray. So we'll stop here. Thank you, Avishani, for sharing. So today's verse is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 30, text number 48. 1 second. We can share. Thank you. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnanatirmidasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshamitamina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manabhistam Sthapitamina Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamayam Dati Sapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Atapadakamalam Shri Guru Navishtam Cha Shri Rupam Shakistam Sagana Lita Sri Shaka Vitam Cha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisa Kanta Radhakanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhavinda Vaneshwari Vishabhanu Satadevi Pranamani Haripriye Vanchakarpatarubhesha Kipasindavevicha Patitanam Pavnibhyo Vishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. So we read the verse today. The chapter is Canto 4, chapter 30, verse number 48. The chapter is entitled The Activities of the Precipice. Techa Brahmana Adesan Manisam Upayemire Yashyam Mahat Avajnanad Ajana Yo Nija Techa Brahmana Adesam Marisan Upayemire Yashyam Mahat Avananda Ajana Yonija. Anybody else like to recite this? Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu Dandot Pranam. Techa Brahmana Adeshan Marishan Upayimiri Yasham Madhavagdanan Ajana Jonina.
Thank you, Prabhu. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I am also trying.
Okay, thank you.
Techa Brahmano Adeshan Marisham Upaye Mere Jasham Mahadavagyanat Ajani Ajana Yo Nija. Hare Krishna.
Anybody else?
Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you, Madi.
Techa Brahmana Adeshan Marisham Upaye Josham Mahadavagyanat Ajani Ajana Yo Nijaha. Hare Krishna.
Anybody else before we go to
Hare
Sri?
Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Madi.
Techa Brahmana Deshan Marisham Upaye Mire Yashyam Mahat Avag Jnanat Ajna Yonija. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you, man. So anybody else would like to try before we go to the synonyms? Okay, anybody want to try the synonyms, please?
May I, Prabhuji?
Yes, Madi, sir.
Te, all the Prachetas, Cha, also Brahmana of Lord Brahma, Adeshat, by the order, Marisham, Maricha, Upye Mire, married, Yashyam, in whom, Mahat, to a great personality, Ava Gyanat, on account of disrespect, Ajani, took birth, Ajan Yonija, the son of Lord Brahma, Daksha. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Okay, translation. Anybody would like to try the translation?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Oh, sure, Madi, you go ahead.
Following the order of Lord Brahma, all the Prachetas accepted the girl as their wife. From the womb of this girl, the son of Lord Brahma, named Daksha, took birth. Daksha had to take birth from the womb of Marisha due to his disobeying and disrespecting Lord Mahadev, Shiva. Consequently, he had to give up his body twice. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mati. Okay, purport. I'll read the purport myself. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In this connection, the word Mahat Avajana is significant. King Daksha was the son of Lord Brahma, and therefore, in the previous word, he was a Brahmana. But because of his he's behaving like a non-Brahmana or Brahmana. By insulting or disrespecting Lord Mahadev, he had to take birth within the semen of a Kshatriya. That is to say, he became the son of a Prachetas. Not only that, but because of his disrespecting Lord Shiva, he had to undergo the tribulation of taking birth from within the womb of a woman. In the Daksha Yajna arena, he was once killed by Lord Shiva's servant Virabhadra. Because that was not sufficient, he again took birth from the womb of Marisha. At the end of Daksha Yajna and the disastrous incident there, Daksha offered his praise to Lord Shiva. Although he had to give up his body and take birth from the womb of a woman impregnated by the semen of a Kshatriya, he received all opulence by the grace of Lord Shiva. These are the subtle laws of material nature. Unfortunately, people in this modern age do not know how these laws are working. Having no knowledge of the eternity of the spirit soul and its transmigration, the population of the present age is in the greatest ignorance. Because of this, it is said in Bhagavatam 1.110, Manda Subandha Mayato Manda Bhagya He Upadata. The total population in the age of Kali Yuga is very bad, lazy, unfortunate, and disturbed by material condition. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Padaya Bhutale, Shrimatama Krishna Goswami Nami. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Padaya Bhutale, Shrimat Bhaktivedanta Swami Nami. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pachali, Nivishesha Shunyavadi Pashyate Tesai. So this is a continuation of the previous verse.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, your voice is a bit soft. Can you increase the volume a bit if possible?
Yeah, okay, Prabhu. Can you hear it better now, Prabhu?
Yes, much better now.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so this is a continuation of verse we left yesterday. Yesterday, Ratnalika Mataji gave a very good exposition of the verse 47, where the Prachetas became angry after coming out of the waters. And this anger was directed at the trees, which had overgrown the earth planet. And because they were Kshatriyas, this anger was dharmic, because not for self-satisfaction, because they were ordered by their father and also Lord Brahma to increase the population of the world, of the universe. So they had every right to make sure the population will be sustained, and therefore this anger came out and destroyed many of the trees on the surface of the earth. At that time, Lord Brahma comes down and then placate the Prachetas, and then the deity of the forest gives their daughter to the Prachetas, and as Lord Brahma requests them to marry her. So they were very oriented to obeying the high authorities, and they accepted this offer. So in this particular verse, we see more emphasis on the second birth of Lord Shiva. Beginning of this canto, in chapter 2, 3 to 6 and 7, there's a very good description of how Lord Shiva was insulted by Daksha, and he would take, and he was destroyed, and then he had to, head of a goat had to be placed on his head, and then he was revived. So let's recap a little bit. Just before this particular chapter, at the beginning of this chapter 30, there's a conversation going on between Vidura and the sage. And they, so Vidura is requesting, how is what happened to the Prachetas after they came out of the water? Maitri Muni then is answering this question. And you can see in this chapter, this conversation is going between Vidura and sage Maitri Muni. And Vidura is asking very, very pertinent question. And Maitri Muni in response is elaborating on by giving his very, very pertinent answers. So when the Prachetas, they underwent austerity for 10,000 years under water, and then by the grace of Lord Shiva, they were meditating on the Buddha Gita. And then when they came out, before they came out, they had a very good fortune of having the darshan of Lord Vishnu face to face. So in this chapter, we see a very intricate, very detailed description of how Lord Vishnu came on the back of the Garuda. One second. He gave darshan to Prachetas. Lord Vishnu was very, very happy with the Prachetas for two reasons. Because they were very obedient to the orders of the father, and second is that they had a similar nature and they were working very harmoniously. There was no dispute. They had the same nature. This is one of the reasons Lord Brahma gave the daughter of the forest to the Prachetas, because all the brothers had similar nature. So it's very instructive. How the 10 brothers, just imagine 10 brothers staying together in a similar nature, and also they had one focus on the devotional service. So when Lord Vishnu became very, very pleased, he gave them benediction that they will be able to rule the universe for 1 million celestial years, and they will have heavenly and other places without restriction. So because the Prachetas were already very advanced devotees, they were not going to misuse this benediction, because they were going to use it in a dharmic way. So they were so fortunate. First, they had the darshan. After the father gave them the instruction to go and meditate and to increase the population of the universe, they were going to the forest, and they were very fortunate to meet Lord Shiva himself in person near the lake. And after Lord Shiva gave the instruction on the Buddha Gita, they meditate for 10,000 years. And then they were very fortunate to see Lord Vishnu in person. And then here we see that Lord Brahma had come. So they had, the triple benedictions first from Lord Shiva, then Lord Vishnu, and now we have Lord Brahma coming here. So the Prachetas became very angry, because the earth was overgrown with trees, very tall trees, and restricting the heavenly planets. So when they were burning down the trees, Lord Brahma became very compassionate, and then came down to ask them to stop it, because they were overdoing it. So at this point, the Prachetas became obedient and listened to Lord Brahma. And then what happened? The deity of the forest came with Marisha, the daughter of the forest. And then Lord Brahma asked them to marry Marisha. So this is where we are at the moment. So in this verse, particular verse 48, Prabhupada is giving two important points. First is that Daksha had to take second birth through the womb of a Kshatriya woman, through the semen of a Kshatriya Prachetas. And secondly, and their second part of the purport that Prabhupada is emphasizing, the subtle laws of nature of the universe, which most of the people are not aware. How the subtle nature activate, how the subtle laws of the universe are so predominating, but it's not visible or not felt. And generally in people in Kali are not aware of this, and so there's not much happiness. So let's go back to how Daksha came to this position of being so arrogant and blaspheming Lord Shiva. So it's happened if you see in the previous chapters, chapter 2 and 3, first there was a huge sacrificial yajna organized by Daksha, and all the governors of the universe were invited to participate. So Daksha by the grace of Lord Brahma, had these good opulence to carry out this big yajna. So when all the participants, the demigods, the governors of the universe were present, Daksha enters the arena. And he was so effulgent because his beauty, he outshone even the fire god. So in respect of Daksha's position, all the demigods and the governors of the universe stood up, except Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. So when Lord Brahma welcomed Daksha, but Daksha noticed that his son-in-law, Lord Shiva, did not stand up. So he got very angry, and he started blaspheming Lord Shiva like anything in front of all the progenitors or the governors of the universe, in front of Lord Brahma. He was so inflamed that he called Lord Shiva by such bad names. Lord Shiva was not moved. He could listen. He was not inflamed. He did not show any anger. That is greatness. So Lord Shiva, although he controls the mode of ignorance, but he is not in ignorance. You can see by his great control of taking insult, being equipoised in a very challenging situation. So then, but Lord Shiva's assistant became angry, and they will start cursing the Yajna Brahmins and Daksha, and Lord Shiva just left. So that was the first insult. You can see this insult was very grave. You can see in even his Lord Krishna's time, he was also insulted, but not to this extent. So Lord Shiva left, and then there was another yajna organized by Daksha again, and all the demigods were going there to attend by the invitation. When Sati was staying with Lord Shiva in Kailas, she saw all these nice plains and the demigods and the wife very nicely decorated, going to the yajna. And she asked permission from Lord Shiva if she can attend. But Lord Shiva told her, look, you are not invited, not very nice to go to a place we are not invited. But then Sati said, no, it's my father loves me so much, and my sister are there, all the other people are there, it's a big event, I need to go. In spite of Lord Shiva's predomination, that this is not going to work out very well, finally Sati went there. And Sati was very heavily insulted. When she arrived there, Daksha even did not give any word of welcome. All the sisters and the mother spoke very nicely, welcome her. But the Daksha kept very aloof. This is a big insult. Then she also noticed that all the governors and the demigods were there, but there was no seat for Lord Shiva. And then she felt, oh, although I have a very biological relation with my father, he's very envious of Lord Shiva. And so at that point in time, she decided that it's not very good to have any connection for her father, who is very insulting to the Lord Shiva. So she sat in a yogic position, meditated, and brought out a chakra and burned her body. Just imagine when there's a big yajna being such a huge event, all the demigods, all the prajapatis, all the governors of the universe are there, and then Sati is being insulted, and she just immolated herself in front of everybody. So this was such a big insult to Daksha. So when Lord Shiva heard that Sati has given up her body because of being insulted, that time he exhibited his anger from one of his hairs. He created this Vidbhadra, huge demon. And the demon Virabhadra, an associate of Lord Shiva, the Bhutas, they went to Yagna of the Daksha, and then they start dismantling holy Yagna. Such a huge event, but then there's calamity. The Yagna's stall was being destroyed, the pandals were being pulled down, and the people who were participating, the priests, were being attacked. So much so that the priest who had smiled when Lord Shiva was being insulted, the followers of Lord Shiva, Virabhadra and his associates, knocked out the teeth. They cut out their mustache. There's so much chaos going on, so chaotic incident. Prabhupada says here, he says, this is a, says, in the Daksha Yagna arena, he was killed by the Lord Shiva's servant, Virabhadra, because that was not sufficient. He began to take, okay. So then Virabhadra caught hold of Daksha and started attacking him. He started to kill him, but his body was so stout, so protected, that he was not able to cut with any of the weapons. Then he picked up a wooden spoon or something that is meant to kill the goats for sacrifice, and by that he beheaded Daksha. So this is Daksha, although he was son of Lord Brahma, he was killed by Virabhadra, and he lay dead. And the whole Yagna Sal was just destroyed by these demonic forces of Lord Shiva. So Daksha, and then the Prajapatis became very compassionate, and then Lord Brahma came and then placed the head of the goat on Daksha's dead body, and Daksha became alive, became conscious. He was lying dead. Then Daksha saw that Lord Shiva was standing beside him. He felt very, very repentant. And then he offered prayers, asked for forgiveness. And then the yagna was completed. And because the Daksha had become so arrogant, so disrespectful to Lord Shiva, he lost his opulence. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, there's a verse, I think it's 10. I'm not able to share the verse. It says, I think 10.414 or something. It says, anybody who disrespects or Vaishnava loses all his opulence. This is what happened to the, one second, I'll just see if I can get this verse. It's chapter 10, text, sorry, canto 10, text, must be 10.4.6. Sorry, I'm not able to get the verse. 1 second. Try again. So we can see somebody who insults or is inimical to Vaishnavas, they lose their opulence, they lose their longevity. 4.6. Yeah, it says, Ayu Shriyam Yaso Dharmam, Lokam Asisa Evacha, Hanti Shesvi Sarvani, Pumsa Mahat Patikrama. My dear king, when a man persecutes great soul, all his benedictions of longevity, beauty, fame, religion, blessing, and promotion to higher planes will be destroyed. Okay, so this is a very great offense to insult a very Param Vaishnava like Lord Shiva, and immediately you can see Daksha getting the karmic reaction. So he says here, my dear king, when a man persecutes great soul, all his benediction of longevity, his ayu, his immediately decreases. We can see there was immediate, he was killed because he insulted Lord Shiva. His beauty is destroyed. You can see when Daksha entered the arena, his person was so effulgent that he shadowed, made the other Prajapatis and the demigod like fire god to diminish their effulgence. Just by entering, he was so he lit up the whole arena. So when he was killed, he lost his beauty, he lost his fame just by being offensive. All his fame, he was a son of Brahma, such a famous person. Because he offended Lord Shiva, he lost his fame, he lost his religion because he could not remember what was good, what was bad, and by offending Lord Shiva, he lost it. He lost his religion, and blessing and promotion to higher planes will be destroyed. So he did not go to higher planes. He was just killed, and his body was left there. And he had the infamy of having the head of a goat. So one thing we learned from this chapter is that any offense to Vaishnava is very, very disastrous, extremely, extremely disastrous for anybody who offends Vaishnava. Even in day-to-day dealing, one has to be very, very careful. And this is a very subtle thing. Here in this verse, we can see Daksha insulting and getting immediate reaction. But sometimes the reaction is not very perceptible, it's very imperceptible. It's because it's very subtle. Suppose somebody comes to the temple, he blasphemes somebody or pushes somebody without any reason, and then his bhakti becomes diminished. Maybe next day he will not feel that blissful in his chanting, or he has some other issues will come up in his life, some legal issues, some relation issues. So this is a very important thing, because we know previously we have discussed at quite at length the importance of association. Association is very important, but how we associate, how we do not disrespect the devotees, create offenses, is even more important. So one is to be very, very careful how one associates with devotees. Devotees is very, very important, but the way we associate, we need to be sure that we are not creating any offenses. So in this case, it's very, very evident that that Daksha lost everything just because being offensive. In the previous, Daksha was so emanical, he was so envious of Lord Shiva that he called Lord Shiva the most auspicious Lord Shiva. So many bad names. In front of a whole assembly. So there was so this verse says that anybody who persecutes or offends a great soul, all his benediction of longevity, beauty, fame, religion, blessing, and promotion to higher planes will be destroyed. Very, very important point. So we have so many offenses to avoid, the 10 offenses to avoid in chanting holy name. There's a Vaishnava Parad. There's also the offenses to the holy dham. So many different offenses. So one has to be very aware that even without thinking or without consciously, unconsciously, we shouldn't be even offending somebody else. Very, very it works very subtly. We have the case of Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami. Excuse me. I think it was Sanatana Goswami. He received these ingredients to cook very nice offering for the Lord, and then he was meditating, and he could see that the Lord was enjoying it, and he was smiling. But at that time, one Brahmana who was a bit physically not well, challenged, he passed, and he thought that Sanatana Goswami was laughing at him. It wasn't that way, but he thought that way. And just because he had this unintentional offense, Sanatana Goswami lost the sight of the Lord. And then he asked Srila Rupa Goswami, how this can happen? Then he said, okay, this can only happen because you must have insulted Vaishnava. But Sanatana Goswami said, no, I did not insult anybody. How can that happen? And so you might have done it unintentionally. So how do you find out? So one way to find out is invite all the Vaishnavas in Vrindavan to a very big feast, and person doesn't come, you know that he was insulted. So Sanatana Goswami did that, but then one Vaishnava did not come. Then found this, asked him what happened. And this Vaishnava who was physically challenged, he said, no, I was passing, and Sanatana Goswami smiled at me. But Sanatana Goswami was smiling in his meditation. So then he explained and asked forgiveness, and everything was rectified. So just think, unintentionally, Sanatana Goswami did not mean it, and he wasn't there. But just by the offense, the Vaishnava getting offended, the reaction is there. So in our day-to-day dealing, we have all this subtle, not intentional or intentional offenses one does. So it creates some havoc in our spiritual life. So it's very, very important that we should not do this. We be extremely careful, especially when you go to Holy Dham. Prabhupada said, when you go to Vrindavan, even we should insult the rickshawala. We should try at high-pitched voice and negotiate a better price. Or even a dog passing Vrindavan, we should not insult a dog. Everything is, even the culprit, everything is very spiritual in Vrindavan. Even a dog, even a tree. Trees are kalpavriksha trees. So the mood of going to the Holy Dham is to associate with the devotees of higher caliber and hear them. It's not just physically visiting, taking dust, having some dust, and that's also important. But more important is that keep away from offenses and go and listen to authorities or higher Vaishnavas so we can learn, increase our spiritual health. So the references to the Holy Dham, offering the holy name, offering to devotees, so many subtle things happening. And here in this verse, we had to learn very, very, very emphatic. Just by Lord Shiva's offenses, he was completely destroyed in so many ways. Also, Lord Daksha was a Brahmana, but he did not, at that particular instant, he did not behave like a Brahmana. You know, in I think Bhagavad Gita chapter 16, we see the qualities of the 16 verse 4. The qualities of a demonic person. It says, Dambo Darpo Abhimanascha Krodha Purisham Evacha Anjanam Chabhi Tashyasya Partha Sampadam Asurim. Pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, and ignorance. These qualities belong to the those of demonic nature, O son of Partha. So, Lord Daksha was one of the sons of Brahma. I mean, direction of Brahma. So how you got in this situation? How got this pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, and ignorance? All these asuric qualities. Being a Brahmana, having these qualities is just unimaginable. But we see Prabhupada giving commentary on this Daksha's behavior. Daksha was completely on a bodily concept, bodily platform, because he looked at Lord Shiva. He's not wearing nice clothes. He was wearing a garland of skull. He's staying comatarium. Externally, he looked at the physical body, and because of his bodily conception, his mental health was destroyed, and he get all these qualities of asura: pride, damba, darpa, arrogance, abhimana, conceit, krodha, prisham, harshness. He was very harsh. So the demonic qualities just manifested in him in spite of him being a Brahmana. So at that stage, he was not a Brahmana. He had these demonic qualities because he was on a bodily platform, and because he became arrogant, he became prideful, he became harshly criticizing Lord Shiva, he had to this reaction. So this verse is very important for all of us for our spiritual growth and spiritual health. We have to really completely devoid these qualities. Prabhupada said this is in this verse, the royal road to hell is described. The demonics want to make a show of religion, advancement, spiritual sign, although they do not follow the principles. So this is royal road to hell. If you have these qualities, and Daksha was very exhibited these qualities, and he got the karmic creation. So first, Daksha, son of Lord Brahma, was destroyed, killed, and he got the. Then the second time he was born from the semen of the Prachetas. The Prachetas were Kshatriyas, and through the womb of Marisha, their wife, Daksha was born. That was his second birth. So this is the second birth of Daksha. So Prabhupada was saying he not only his status only not only decreased, but because of from Brahmana he got in the womb of become a Kshatriya, his life also became his fame also decreased, because now he had to live through his infamy for all the times. So, but then he says by the influence of Daksha, because then he rectified it. A very important point. Daksha then, when he got the head of the goat, he went and asked for forgiveness, offered very nice prayers to Lord Shiva, complete U-turn, and asked for forgiveness. And then he went for a long meditation, prashita. And then he regained his he received all opulences by the grace of Lord Shiva. Then he regained his most opulences which he had lost. So one thing is to do offense, another thing to do repentance and ask for forgiveness, that we can get back on track. So things we have to learn from this incident is that offense to Lord, to Vaishnava is very destructive for spiritual health. Just goes destroyed, everything, opulence, longevity, blessing, everything is destroyed. Then to rectify, one is in person, go and ask for forgiveness, ask prayers, and if the Vaishnava who's been offended, he forgives one, you can come back on track. So this is very important. And Prabhupada said these are very subtle laws of nature, but in the current situation, in the modern life, people are not aware, and that is one of the reasons there's so much unhappiness, so much destruction, so much disasters in the material world. We have seen all the wars going in Israel, Gaza, Lebanon, Ukraine, Russia. All these things are happening because the current population is so much ignorance, they are not able to perceive the subtle laws. So Prabhupada is saying the subtle laws are that we have all the living entities are coming from have a spiritual soul. This animates the material body. We are not the body with the soul. There's transmigration of the soul according to karma. And then these laws of nature are subtle, how it works. And when people are not aware of this, then they are not going to be happy. So one of the things Prabhupada really emphasizing most of the time is that we are not the body, we are the spirit soul and son of Krishna. And the current material proposition is just the opposite. Everything is based on economic development, sense gratification, which is completely opposite of what Srimad Bhagavatam is preaching. And because they are not aware, there's so much unhappiness, there's so much disaster in the material world. One of the main things about material science at the moment is that life comes from matter, which is completely wrong. Life is coming from life. Even we can see the plants are being produced in another plant, the animal species are spreading another living entity, another offspring is a living entity. So living entity, life is coming from life. But material science is saying that life comes from matter. It is such a simple, self-evident concept, but they are not able to accept. And because of these, there's so much issues in the real world. So life after death, transmigration, the concept of God, these are science current modern people, these subtle laws they don't accept, even like meat eating, which affect one's consciousness so badly. But people are so enamored eating meat, just trying to satisfy tongue, they are not willing to agree on these subtle laws. But the subtle laws still act, whether one agrees, accept them or not accept them, it happened. You cannot get away from it. But by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, what you can see, he had given this courses mercy. All the inhabitants, many of the inhabitants of the material world are not fit to receive this mercy of the Lord. But by Lord Chaitanya's mercy, courses mercy, they're getting these translated books, Prashadam, distribution, the holy name, and that is reigniting the spiritual consciousness of the material world. So these subtle laws are there. The key people, the scientists, the materialists, they are not accepting it. But by Lord Chaitanya's mercy, by his courses mercy, this propagation of the holy name, book distribution, prashad distribution is going on. And the people who are completely unqualified, just by this courses mercy of Lord Chaitanya, his servants, like Prabhupada and the Vaishnavas, they're getting the benefit unknowingly. So hopefully one day the whole world become Krishna conscious by the mercy of the Lord. So in one of the lectures I was listening, it says how we can guard ourselves against the aparat. It says the doctor, when he visiting hospital, he takes precaution because he's coming in the very infected area. He can also get infected because the infection is so easily transmissible. So he takes precaution. He puts on this protective gear, his mask, he sanitizes before he goes to the word. So in a similar way, when the devotee goes out on preaching, there's so many issues, and to guard against this infection of the material world, the devotee has to cover himself with the holy name, and the subtle consciousness is very strong. The sadhana should be very strong. Otherwise, somebody goes out, they can be overpowered by the material influence of outside people. So this is how one guard oneself when you go out preaching. So I'll stop here. Just the main points I just reiterate. The aparad, offense of Daksha to Lord Shiva was very, very, very clear. This is the reason he got the second birth from the daughter of Prachitas and Marisha. Daksha had offended the great Vaishnava so badly, and he got the reaction immediately. His life became short, his opulence lost, his beauty was lost, his promotion to higher planets was completely destroyed. Such a strong reaction. So one has to be really safeguard ourselves from any type of aparad, whether Vaishnava aparad, Nam aparad, Seva aparad, deity worship aparad, or holy, the aparad in the holy dham. So one is very conscious. And then what Daksha, and here also in this, at the Canto 4, then Maitre also advises Vidura the remedy for aparad. Lord Shiva became conscious, he asked for forgiveness, and Lord Shiva became auspicious. He forgave the Daksha, and everything Daksha was reiterated to his original former position. So offenses there, forgiveness has to be in person, and forgiveness is once a Vaishnava forgives, one can come back to original position. And then the second point in this purpose by Srila Prabhupada is there are so many subtle laws. The higher realization of consciousness, all these subtle become very manifest. We can understand the laws of transmigration, the law of karma. So these subtle laws are there, and just by experience and our studies, we can enhance these subtle laws, understand it better, and to go forward in spiritual. This will really help us to advance in the spiritual life. So two main takeaways: aparad, forgiveness, and the subtle laws. So I'll end here. Thank you very much. So anybody got any comments or questions? Happy to share. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandot Pranam.
Prabhu.
Such a wonderful classification and in the expression of text 48, we understand from the discussion how the offenses of a Vaishnava can be very dangerous in our spiritual life, and we see from the example of Daksha, who was previously was a Brahmana and later life he became a Kshatriya. So it is an alarm for all of us, the devotees, an instruction to avoid the aparat. It means all the aparatas we have, like Vaishnava aparat, Nam aparat, Dham aparat, all the aparatas should be avoided, and in every respect, so that if it is knowingly or unknowingly, the effect is always there. So to understand these things, we can see from the example of Daksha how he degraded from a Brahman life to a Kshatriya, and from the Canto 4 of chapter 2 and 3 is elaborates about Daksha's incidents with Lord Shiva, and from there we can understand if an advanced devotee or a Brahman even insults any another other advanced devotee, if he knowingly or unknowingly, the effect is always there. So it is in the subtle form also, it can affect you. As you given the example of Sanatan Goswami about this physically challenged Brahmana, though it was unintentional, yet he has to go through that turbulence. So all these things are given examples to avoid the aparat in every senses. But looking to the ages, the descendant of the ages, how this Kali can be saved. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given the very important yagna, which is Yuga Dharma for all of us, so that we can very easily come across these aparat in every moment of our life, even though we are not qualified, by simply following the simple reason of Sankirtan Yagna, all the aparathas can be nullified. And it is very easy for the age of Kali, because people are always Manda Sumanda Mataya, Manda Bhagya Upatrita. They are all very bad, lazy, unfortunate, and disturbed. Even though at that stage they can get the all benefits given by the Lord to avoid this aparat in their life and come to the point of their ultimate goal of life, to go back to Godhead. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for summarizing, Prabhu. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Prabhu.
No
Thank you
problem.
very much for explaining the verse very nicely. And one of the important things we have pointed out is the aparadha that we commit, or we are likely to commit, in other words, while we are pursuing our devotional service. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Chaitanya Lila has shown the Gopal Chapal who committed an offense against Srivas Prabhu, Srivas, associate, and one of the dearest associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This Gopal Chapal was affected by leprosy, and when he approached Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for forgiveness, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu initially refused to do him. He told him, "You have to suffer." And subsequently, when he approached him again, when in Kulia Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came again, taking sannyas from Puri, he came here once. And at the time, he approached him again for forgiveness. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told him to go approach to Srivas Thakur again, so that the person who has committed an offense can be excused by that person to whom the offense has been committed, and no one else can do that. So we should be very careful in our behavior that we do not commit offense. And in case even inadvertently we feel we have committed an offense, we can ask for forgiveness from against whom we have committed the offense. So that is the way of relief Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has shown in his Chaitanya Lila. So we should be very careful and make sure that we do not commit the offense. But in case, even if it happens, Vaishnava is never very proud of his ego. In fact, Trinadapi Shunichena Tarori Vaishnava, that is the mood of a Vaishnava. He should seek pardon from the person in case a person is offended by his behavior. In this way, we can remove our anarthas, or it is an obstacle in the progress of our devotional service. If we stop that, our progress becomes guaranteed. And in the process of in this age of Kali Yuga, Nam Sankirtan, we do it, but if these offenses are committed simultaneously, our progress is hampered, and we should be careful and avoid such offense. And if at all it is committed, we should pray for forgiveness, and in this way we should advance in our devotional service. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
No, Prabhu.
Thank you very much for the class. I'm listening this. Now, Prabhu, a simple question here. We are in very much material world. We are all Maya is all around us,
Mhm.
and we always have a commercial dealing with people here and there, whether you buy a grocery, whether you buy anything. So knowingly, unknowingly, we commit lot of offenses towards other peoples as well, whether it's a devotee or non-devotee. So how to come across the solution? What is the solution, or how can we purify ourselves so that we do not commit such offenses?
Thank you, Prabhu. It's a very nice question. I mean, every breath we take, we are inhaling so many living entities. So the material world is set up such a way, though this is unavoidable. But Professor Prabhupada says that the material, we have to live with this, And just by chanting the holy name and not doing intentionally, slowly, we become more purified, and our outlook will change. We start respecting everybody. We can look at everybody on an equal platform. This enviness within the heart will just diminish gradually. And when that purification takes place by chanting and devotional service, all the anarthas within the heart will burn. Okay, so day-to-day dealing, different level of our sadhana, different level of progress in spiritual life. Everybody's on the same platform. So that solution is to come to the platform of pure devotional service. Do very good sadhana, do service in the temple, do deity worship without any offenses. So all these anarthas within the heart get burnt. Cheto darpana marjanam. So by that, once we come to the stage of pure devotional service, then there's no anartha in the heart, and we can become quite Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, in material day-to-day, it's very difficult because there are so many things taking place within the heart. So it's going to be difficult. Okay. So just have faith in Srila Prabhupada's vision. If somebody chants 16 hours very seriously without offenses, Prabhupada said he'll give a personal guarantee. He'll take the person back to Godhead. So we have the guarantee of the acharyas, acharyas, and if we execute the instruction very seriously, diligently, and sincerely, the result will be there. Although there are so many impediments, this will just burn out. All the impediments with the heart and anarthas will just burn away and come to the platform of devotional service. That is the way through. Otherwise, day-to-day is not going to be, there could be some intentional or unintentional aparadhas coming out. You can see this sect in India, they wear special masks around their face and nose. What's it called? This that special people who follow this very strictly, they don't want to hurt anybody. They're so non-violent. But they also, by eating and by boiling or cooking, they were getting so many living entities being killed. It's not intention, but it's part of life. So only way is to come to the platform of pure devotional service by a gradual process of Srila Prabhupada. This is the way. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Dhanwar Pranam.
Okay, anybody else before we close? Okay, it doesn't seem to be, so we'll close the class here. Vancha kalpatarubhesha
नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। इस कृष्ण नंद व्रज प्रभु की जय। श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। हरि हरि बोल।
हरि हरि।
All glories